Yes, yes, people, we are back. We are back. We are back. You know what time it is. You already know what it is. It is match reaction. Liverpool versus Sheffield United. Liverpool getting the win at Bramall Lane, thanks to a goal from Van Dijk in the first half, from a Trent Alexander-Arnold corner, and then Szoboszlai at the end in injury time of the second half, thanks to a Darwin Núñez assist. 2-0 for Liverpool, clean sheet. That's really, really good for Kelleher. Difficult game, Liverpool, as per usual. You know how it is. We make it difficult for ourselves all the damn time. But regardless of anything, and also, with other results, Liverpool are again now 2 points behind Arsenal in the Premier League at the top of the table. And as we obviously know from those who saw the game last night, Manchester City also lost as well. So, yeah, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So, yeah, man, let's kind of get into the game. Quick match reaction, see what's up. Guys, make sure you smash a like, make sure you share, and make sure you do subscribe to the channel. And let's get into it, man.
Through the lot, now you know I'm coming through. When the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep fitting in love.
What's going on, people? What's going on? As I mentioned before, match reaction to last night's game. Liverpool obviously winning 2-0. Let's get this up. Yeah, Liverpool obviously winning 2-0. Would I say comfortable? Probably not. I wouldn't say comfortable, but I think more professional than comfortable, probably. Sheffield United didn't really have a lot of chances. I think they only had about 2 shots in the entire game, but for some reason it felt like one of those kind of games where anything can happen. Anything can happen. They did put up a lot of spirit, man, just like Fulham, at the weekend for Liverpool. Same kind of vibe, same kind of feeling in terms of the way that they played, the heart that they kind of brought to the game. But quality told for Liverpool. Quality told, individual brilliance from certain players and stuff like that. As I mentioned before, obviously Van Dijk getting himself a goal from a Trent Alexander-Arnold assist, and then obviously Szoboszlai killing it at the death. Overall performance, look, everyone keeps saying it, they don't really care about the performances these days. So, we've got to keep that same energy in regards to last night's game. Performance, no. Would we say it's there? No, of course it wasn't really there, in terms of the standards that Liverpool have set. But again, it doesn't really matter. Liverpool, are on a really, really good run, in the Premier League, in terms of wins and stuff like that. Win against Fulham, got that draw against Manchester City, beat Brentford as well. So, they're on a little good run of form at this current moment in time. So not really too much to really complain about. The game, pretty boring kind of game. I think there was at 1-0, because it was 1-0 for so long, I think there was always that kind of, do you know what I mean? If they can pattern up their attacking third in that final area for Sheffield United, they just had like an ounce bit more quality. They probably could have cut Liverpool to the sword a couple of times. They were getting into very, very good areas, but again, overall, they just weren't really good enough. And yeah, Liverpool were able to, gain victory, in the game in itself. If we look at the table, as I mentioned before, as we can see here, Liverpool 2 points behind Arsenal in the league. Aston Villa with that victory against Manchester City. I'm not even going to call it a shock, to be honest, because Villa have actually been pretty decent. Maybe it wasn't on the cards, but ultimately they got the victory, so hats off to them. Only 2 points behind us. And then, yes, we've got that gap over Manchester City now. Listen, we're still early on in the season. So, I don't think anybody's going to be getting excited about anything. There's no race for anything at this current moment in time. But it's always good to get some type of, even Arsenal in first, we've got a 2-point lead over Liverpool. Even things like that, it's always a good thing to have over your rivals. You just want that little bit of an edge. Do you know what I mean? You want that little bit of a breathing space, so to speak. And we've got that now over Manchester City. That's 2 games, basically, that they have to win in a row. And 2 games we'd have to lose in a row. So, it's obviously it's tight in terms of the points. There's only 6 points difference between first and fourth. So, it's not massive or anything. And again, it's early on in the season. So, we wait and see. But ultimately, there is now a bit of a gap. So, again, it's just going to be interesting to see, how things pan out. But, to Liverpool, yeah, that's kind of said it there in terms of overall how I looked at the game. I'll give a rating, so to speak, for the game in itself. But obviously, this is my player rating for the game. So we've got obviously he started off. This was the team that started off the game. He had Joe Gomez actually at left back. I know in my predicted lineup, I think I simulcast there, yeah. But I did say, you could potentially put a Joe Gomez there. And we finally got to see McAllister in the number 8 role. Very, very interesting to see him in that. I know he picked up a bit of an injury. He came out into the second half after that injury, strapped up his knee as well. That's never a good sign, especially in the Jurgen Klopp team. Do you know what I mean? You kind of need those. You really do kind of need those. Obviously, Szoboszlai, Endo getting himself a start. Really, really good game for me. He was excellent last night. And obviously the front 3 of Diaz, Gakpo, and Mohamed Salah. I think that was the front 3 that I picked in my predicted lineup. So yeah, it was for me, it was a strong enough team. And I think, again, look, performances, no one's going to care right about now. Something I mentioned in a group chat is I think this season, in terms of quality, I don't really feel like the quality's there. Like, this is all teams, not Liverpool specifically. I don't really feel like the quality's there. I don't think there's any standout team. There's no one team I'm looking at and thinking, even Manchester City, who I've got touted as Premier League champions, you can see how they've been performing recently. And obviously getting that shock defeat, should I say, last night, is testament really to that. Arsenal, Liverpool been doing well in the league this season and in the respective European campaigns as well. But would I say there's a standout team? Nah, not really. I think it's almost like everyone's the kind of samey in terms of anyone could really beat anybody, to be honest with you. And we're kind of seeing that, this season, in terms of certain teams beating other teams and things like that. So yeah, I think for me, what do I think, like, this is going to be, you need to get 90 points to win the league type of vibe, what Liverpool and Manchester City were doing? No, I don't think I don't think the quality is really there for that. Maybe 80s, in that kind of realm. And I think that's just purely going to be because the top teams might beat each other. So yeah, that's just kind of the way that I'm looking at things at this current moment in time. But again, we're in game 15. You know me, I wait until game 19. Once that's done, we've done half a season. Now let's see, we've got 4 games left until that. So it's going to be interesting over these next 4 games. There's 12 points to play for everybody in the league. So yeah, it's going to be really, really, really interesting. Hopefully Liverpool get 4 victories, within that time. Because if so, then we can really, start kicking on for that second half of the season. Obviously, a few injuries that are probably going to be picked up and things like that. I haven't read any news in terms of McAllister, so I don't know if it's, something long term or, he's going to be out for a while. No idea at the time of this video. So obviously we'll be waiting patiently, throughout the day to hopefully find out some type of news in regards to him. Diogo Jota, obviously being out, Alisson obviously being out, Matip, we obviously heard is out as well, So yeah, there's a lot going on. So yeah, like I said, it's just going to be one of those kind of seasons where quality is not really going to be there. This looks like the type of season whereby you don't need to be that good really to win the league, in terms of a real standout. But excuse me, we'll wait and see. We'll literally wait and see. But to Liverpool. So as I mentioned, player ratings. So we start off, Keller gave him 6. Thought it was okay. Ilime had like a couple of shots I think he had to actually save or work for. Not really much to do, to be honest with you. I think, as I mentioned before about Sheffield United, they were getting themselves into good areas and stuff like that. But they weren't really doing anything. To be honest with you, once they got there, the quality was always telling during those kind of pivotal moments for Sheffield United. So they couldn't really penetrate our back line, so to speak. Joe Gomez gave him a 5. Made a mistake earlier on in the game, which probably should have resulted, obviously, in a goal. But then for the rest of the game, I just don't really feel like he worked there at the left back position. I just think, especially with Diaz on that left hand side as well, there was no real cohesion. There was no real teamwork really going on there. If I'm being honest, I know he tried to get himself forward. At times you'd see him, kind of infield, picking up the ball. Obviously, when we were pushing up really, really high and Sheffield United were dropping a bit deep. Yeah, he was trying. I'm not going to say, he didn't, he didn't try it. But yeah, for me, it was a very average performance from him. Virgil van Dijk gave him an 8, got himself the goal. Virgil's always a tricky one. He's always a tricky one to judge more time. I almost have to treat him like a goalkeeper because I don't feel like he has much to really do. I know people always throw he won whatever out of however many jewels and stuff in other games and and all that kind of stuff, but I'll be real, most of the time he never really has anything to actually do. He just does kind of bits here and there. There were moments good at ushering the ball out when they were getting in behind Gomez or Trent or Konate kind of thing, and he was there mopping up at times. But yeah, I thought it was a solid performance. He could have been the man of the match. He's not my man of the match, but he could easily have been, man of the match for the game, in itself. But yeah, for me, it was a good 8 performance from him. It was just really a standard, if I'm being honest. It was by nowhere near his best performance, but it didn't need to be. It really didn't need to be. They didn't pose those type of threats. Konate gave him a 6. Konate, I've mentioned it about him having that bozo gene. I think we saw that in full effect last night. Needless fouls, got himself a yellow card, getting beaten a couple times. I think the stats, I remember reading it on social media. I think he won quite a lot of jewels in the game. But it's so funny. This is why you got to watch games, because the stats tell you one thing, but my eyes told me something completely different. With Konate, definitely wasn't really, in my opinion, I didn't feel comfortable with him too tough. Back there, he had some good bits of the game, 100%, definitely had some good bits. But overall, I thought he was probably just above average in terms of his performance. So I'll give him a 6. Excuse me. Trent Alexander-Arnold, again, steady Eddie type of performance. Wasn't really pushing infield as much during this game. I don't know if that's just tactic wise, that was the way it needed to be, kind of thing, in terms of how we wanted to set up, how we wanted to build from the back. Obviously came in every now and again, but he was pushing out wide more than anything, trying to run down the wing or overlap Mohamed Salah at times, being option, deeper for Szoboszlai or Salah. But yeah, overall, I thought, again, it was like a steady Eddie type of performance. Yeah, good assist. Really, really good assist. And he was putting in the corner that he was putting in. I did like, because I said those are corners that are going to trouble defenses. Do you know what I mean? You put one underneath the goalkeeper, goalkeeper's going to start having problems after a while. And if you got players like Van Dijk, Konate, and Szoboszlai, Gakpo, who are quite tall, big guys, it's going to cause a problem at one point or another. And it did. And obviously that got us the opening goal of the game. To Endo. Endo is my man of the match. Again, we've given Endo a lot of stick and stuff like that. But yeah, I think with Endo, I don't know, man. I just saw that performance. I was like, this is a real good midfield performance. You can see here by the heat map, he was everywhere. He really, really was everywhere, on the pitch. He was offering himself to the defenders. He was being an option a bit further forward at times, getting himself further forward, putting in challenges. Good with the ball, good at progressing the ball, playing the ball into the final third, trying to almost make things happen at times. Yes, he puts in some of those challenges, and I am a bit like, he seems like a guy that will probably get sent off in a game of certain kind of magnitude. But yesterday's game, I thought he was absolutely fine, to be honest with you. And yeah, for me, like I said, he was my man of the match. Go back to the ratings there. McAllister finally playing in that kind of 8 position, left central midfield position. Everyone's been crying out for it. I've been, saying, let's put him in there, see what's up with McAllister. I mean, he came off in the second half, obviously because of that injury that he did pick up in the first half. 21 touches in the game. He was, in my opinion, him and Szoboszlai was so anonymous. It was unreal. I think he was just a bit better, really, than Szoboszlai, and Szoboszlai scored. But yeah, they were so anonymous, so anonymous in the game. There was even a point I remember even saying, "Is McAllister still on the pitch?" Because I ain't seen the guy. Do you know what I mean? I really haven't actually seen the guy. So yeah, wasn't really too pleased. I'll just take this banner off, actually. Yeah, I wasn't really too pleased with his performance, so to speak, in that 8 position. It's a position that we've been talking about. Yeah, that's his best position. I know it's one of the first time, it's not the first time he's played there this season, but I definitely expected better. You can see even by the heat map, non-existent. It's really, really non-existent. Yeah, he looks like he's everywhere, but he's not really doing too much. You only touch the ball about 21 times. So again, that kind of tells, its own story. If I just go here, Klopp obviously talking about McAllister. Early, he stepped on his knee. There was a cut. As long as the wound was open, we just strapped it, as we saw when he came out in the second half. Obviously, it was painful, but he could play. Now we have to see how long that will take. I hope not too long. And yeah, I hope obviously it's not too long of an injury for him, because we're going to need him, in this running, coming up. Szoboszlai, yeah, I gave him a 6, but I should have swapped that around, to be honest with you. I should have swapped that around. But either way, I put here a 6. That was just really for the goal. I thought it was another average performance from Szoboszlai. Yeah, it was really just the goal that kind of bumped him up, if I'm being totally honest with you. Like I said, alongside McAllister, very anonymous in the game. So especially in that first half, we had a lot of possession and we were dominating in that kind of aspect of the game, but that was about it. We weren't really creating chances. We didn't look a threat, and to be honest with you, I am looking at you guys, because I'm assuming we're not running it back to 2018 and we're trying to use Trent as the guy to play in the forwards and stuff. I thought these guys were here to do that. Szoboszlai and McAllister, and the forwards were feeding off scraps. It was embarrassing. At one point I was looking at it thinking, what do you even expect these forwards to do? They're looking for service and they're not really getting any service. They're trying to make things happen, the Gakpos and the Salahs and the Diaz, but nothing's really happening, if I'm being totally honest with you. So yeah, gave him a 6, but that was more for the goal than anything. 5 is probably more of a reflection for his performance. Excuse me. Move to Diaz. Another average performance from Luis Diaz. To be honest, the whole front line got a 5, in my opinion. I thought just nothing was happening. Like I said, feeding off scraps. They weren't really doing too much anyway. And yeah, it just felt quite stale up top. Really did feel really, really stale. Salah, you know what I mean? Like, I expect more from you, Salah. At the end of the day, you're trying to get that 200th goal, I know. But then at times, some of your decision making couldn't really beat your man too tough. I think there's like one instance where he did, and I was like, oh yes, okay, let's. And then he ends up getting tackled anyway. Diaz, same thing. Couldn't really do too much down that side. And yeah, and Gakpo was just kind of floating. He was doing one of his ghost roles. Do you know what I mean? It was literally one of those kind of performances from Gakpo, but we've seen that quite a bit, to be honest with you. In terms of the subs, Curtis Jones came on. Not really anything to really note about, to be honest. Average, so 5, but they didn't play full 90 minutes, so it might be a bit harsh. But yeah, like a 5. Darwin Núñez set up the late goal for Szoboszlai at the end there. He looked a bit more lively when he did come on. Did look a bit more lively. Obviously now he's got GA up as well, so I know people will be happy about that in terms of him getting the assist for Szoboszlai. But yeah, it was more lively when he was on. I'll definitely say that much about Darwin Núñez. It was a little bit more lively. We were moving the ball a bit quicker and stuff like that when he was on the pitch. Same with like Gravenberch and Elliott. Like I said, when they came on, it was more moving the ball about a bit quicker. And trying to get that goal and stuff like that. Again, I do have to then give credit to Sheffield United for the way that they did actually defend in the game, and the way that they were sitting in deep blocks, the way that they were passing a man on to another player, to make sure that they were closing the gaps. I can see Archer speaking to other players, you drop in, mark him, watch him, all these kind of different things. I was looking at that whilst they were playing, and I thought they're doing pretty good. They're doing pretty good in that respect, and it made it so difficult, for us to, kind of, bring them down. To be honest with you, I guess now we're in a position where, thank God, last 2 games now our forwards haven't scored, and we're almost in that kind of position now where it's like, we've scored 6 goals in the last 2 games. 6 goals in the last 2 games. No forward has scored in that time. I think maybe it's only even 2 assists from the forwards. I think can't remember if there's another one from the Fulham game. But yeah, so the forwards are not really popping at this current moment in time. But it's good that we're able to have someone else to get us goals, because before it would be no one, kind of thing, getting us the goals, and then we would draw that kind of game. Wouldn't probably, I don't think we'd lose it, but we'd probably definitely draw that type of game away to Sheffield United. So yeah, it was good that Van Dijk and Szoboszlai were able to get themselves the goal. Szoboszlai needed the goal, to be honest with you. Yeah, I want to see more of that from Szoboszlai though for the goal. I know obviously they were kind of stretched, they were trying to push up and blah blah blah. Núñez obviously losing the ball at first and then winning it back brilliantly to then play the ball to Szoboszlai. Like, I want to see Szoboszlai making those kind of runs. That's exactly the Szoboszlai I know we can see. It's that Szoboszlai, the guy who's making those kind of runs. And when he does get into the box, he can finish. It's not like we're talking about a guy who we're trying to hope that we're trying to mold them into that type of role. He can do that, man. He can definitely do that. So I want to see more of that from Szoboszlai. It was a good sequence of play, both from Darwin Núñez and Szoboszlai. But yeah, that's kind of my ratings. Like I said, altogether, I'll probably give the performance a 6 for that 2-0 victory and keeping a clean sheet. But performance-wise, wasn't really that good. But who cares? Who cares? At the end of the day, we're able to, get the victory. And as I said, keep a clean sheet. And we kind of just keep it moving, on to our next game now against Crystal Palace. Hopefully, we just get another W. Then we move on to the Manchester United and Arsenal games, I believe, after that, which are going to be both very, very interesting to see, especially that Manchester United game. I think that's going to be more interesting than the Arsenal game. I don't know why, but something in my head tells me it's going to be very, very interesting type of fixture, whether it's we slap them 7-0 again or they pick up a shot victory or whatever. I just think it's going to be super, super interesting, to see. So yeah, we'll wait and see, but that's obviously in the future. But yeah, Liverpool keep on rolling. I'll bring out the table again for you guys. As I said, we're 2 points behind now. So yeah, we just keep on marching on. Keep on marching on. Like I said, the performances for me as a whole this season haven't really been there. But it's like I was saying to someone earlier on, ultimately, does it even matter? We're sitting second in the league. We're right up there, doing obviously way better than we did last season. So yeah, there's not really too much to really complain about in an overall sense. It's only when you start to like nitpick at certain things, then yeah, no problem. But yeah, that's for another day. Let me know what you guys think, obviously, in the comment section in terms of who you thought played well. What do you think we need to do better? Anything like that? You're happy with the victory? Whatever it is, just kind of let me know what you think in the comments. As I mentioned before, and with my man of the match for the game, I did think he had a good performance. Hopefully he can just continue that, especially if we find out today that McAllister is going to be injured. Or is going to be out for a little while. We're definitely going to need him. So yeah, let's wait and see what happens with that. Make sure you smash a like, make sure you share, make sure you do subscribe to the damn channel. I'm G, that's the match reaction done and dusted. I am out.